today's episode of Path Monk Presents, I've got a very special guest with me joining from AavGo. Please welcome David Ramirez, who is the marketing manager. So for all of you who don't know, AavGo is basically a contactless solution for hotels. So where you can have contactless check-in, digital app for in-house guests or for digital workflow for your staff. So David, thank you so much for joining us on Path Monk Presents. It's an honor to have you on our show.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you as well. So for all of our listeners out there, tell us what AavGo does. What does your company do? What are the problems that you solve for your clients? And, what is the industry that you mainly cater to?
So AavGo, we're a tech startup, but we're one of those 10-year-old startup companies. We've been doing this for a while. And we provide digital solutions for hotels, right? We're a SaaS company that provides, our main product name is AavGo 360. So basically it encompasses everything digitally that a hotel might need, right? Anything from check-in to check-out. We include, contactless check-in, mobile check-in, check-out. If you need room keys, we can provide that. So we're basically trying to handle as much as we possibly can on our system, allowing hotels to benefit the consumer, process that in the past were manually done, but now our system we're able to do them digitally. So basically, that's our thing.
So for your clients and your prospects, how do they mainly find you? What is your top client acquisition channel? Is it digital marketing? Is it inbound? Is it SEO/content? Is it SAM, outbound, or is it a mix of a lot of things that you guys have going on right now?
So we're basically, we try to do what's best for the company, right? We try to adapt. We've taken on this approach of because we're a startup and because the industry has not existed, right? So in hospitality, there has not been the digitization of technology into the industry as much as it's been in other industries, right? Like, you see supermarket stores with checkout lines, with automatic kiosks there to handle everything. But in the hospitality industry, it's been a little bit behind. It's more, the process of getting through that in a hotel is a little bit different, right? So what we've been doing, especially because the industry, it's modernized, but it's got aspects of the old format. We try to do everything that makes sense, right? So we do spend a lot of time on digital, but we also do a lot of trade shows, right? So on the ground marketing, going to every trade show that we possibly can, so we can talk to these hoteliers. Basically, our industry is the hospitality industry. Right. And so we do a lot of traditional marketing by doing, billboards, mobile advertising, which are mobile billboards at the conferences. And then we'll do a lot of digital content. We also do a lot of writing, right? So we do a lot of writing, content writing for our customers, just to be able to educate them not only on what's going on in the industry, but what technology is doing in the industry. So we try to touch a little bit on every form, but we mostly concentrate on digital and conferences, basically. So those are our two main ones: is digital advertising and conferences, and the rest supplements, right? The rest is supplementary. It's like we try to build a foundation of all these different marketing aspects. So.
Sweet. That's really cool. I love how you gave me a huge overview as well. And my other question is, so since you mentioned trade shows, are you guys going to any trade shows in the next 6 months that, our listeners should, be aware of or keep their eye out?
Yeah. So we try to attend as many trade shows as we possibly can. Yeah. But right now we have two of one of the largest trade shows in the industry, which is High Tech in Toronto at the end of the month. And then the hospitality show in Las Vegas also at the end of the month, which are both literally at the same time. So our team is going to be divided. Half our team is going to Las Vegas, half our team is going to Toronto. But those are two huge conferences that we will be attending this year.
All right, super cool. So for all the listeners out there, if you're at these trade shows, you know where to find them. So now for my next question, we're going to switch gears. We're going to talk about the website. So what would you say are the major strengths of your website, but then also an area for room for improvement on the website?
So, like, I have the idea of dynamic web pages, right? I don't know if that's an older idea or a newer idea, but I think a strength and a negative is the continuous evolving of technology within website technology, right? So 6 months from now, maybe we need to be doing a lot more SEO, right? So it depends on evolving technologies. I think the strength of our website right now is that we are able to adapt quickly. Since we manage it ourselves, we are able to move with the times quick rather than having to go through a long process. So we're trying to be lean and small, right? Have that mentality to be able to shift as time comes. So right now we're trying to focus on being optimized for the digital marketing that we're doing, right? The advertising, the marketing. So we're focusing right now on keywords, right? SEO, that kind of stuff. I don't think that we're 100% succeeding, but I think that SEO and keywords is an evolving technology, right? So you're never done. You've just gotten past this month, right? Or the next 3 months, because you got to be constantly tweaking, learning. With ChatGPT out, the ability to do more on our campaigns has presented itself, right? When we had very little hours to be able to create campaigns before, because it was all done manually, now we have basically an editor, right, that can help us be able to do much more on SEO and on digital marketing. So that's one of those, like, what was it, a couple months ago when ChatGPT just took off immediately, we had to evolve with the time and start using the tool to be able to, that's what I mean. So I think it's a strength of ours to be SEO and digitally inclined, but it's also not necessarily a fault, but a fault because we need to stay on top of it, right? So, and whenever we don't, that's when we see the negatives, right? So.
No, definitely. I agree with you where, it's, as you say, it's a pro and it's a con, where it's a pro because, adaptability, but then the con is where, having to always stay up to date and knowing the trends and what's going on. So that I completely understand and agree with you. All right. So now we're going to talk about you as a leader. So with being a marketing manager, what does a normal day look like for you? What do you do on an average daily basis?
So actually, I have a new perspective on leadership when it comes to, a technology company. I'll speak to technology, right? To a tech company, because, might be different between different sectors. But one thing that I've learned and I've tried to stay humble about is that when you're in a leadership position, your job isn't necessarily to grind through the daily, the daily tasks that you have. It's more about being able to resolve problems, right? It's whatever problems arise, that's like your main focus, right? You have to do what you have to do on a daily basis, right? So on a daily basis, I need to make sure that our campaigns are running, our newsletters are going out, our blog content is coming in, our press releases are going out, we're making deals with our customers, we're partnering with customers in the industry. I mean, with other providers in the industry, right? That makes sense for us to do work with. But I think the leadership aspect comes into, when you're in that position and your company is trying to break out, right? And I think we're on the verge of that, right? Your job is more to make sure that all the fires are put out, right? So there's always in this position, because I've been in leadership positions right before, and it's been different. It's been different where this one, I think in this position, leadership is more about making sure everything happens, right? And making sure there's an answer. So for, let's say, for example, there's a kiosk that needs an upgrade to get to our updated software. So we need to be on top of it and make sure that happens. Everything, we need to make sure that any problem that arises on the customer side, on the client side, in the marketing, that we resolve it timely, and we look, and it's one of those things where nobody gives you the playbook on how you solve these problems, and that's the hard part, right? So there's this problem that came up, and we don't know how to solve it. We have to figure it out. And I think that's the one aspect of leadership, and it's a team, right? So for example, I'll just give a quick example, like on these conferences, right? There are they're big shows, and we like to make a big splash. And so we have 1,000 items, right? And not one person has knowledge on every item that we have to do to prepare for this conference. So we need to, as leaders, be able to delegate the items to the best suited person, right? So if it's an item within sales, we get the sales department involved. Because I won't have those answers. The same with the rest of the management. Our job is to make sure that everything's functioning and rolling around, and we're growing, and we get to that position where we're become the next unicorn, hopefully. So
Yeah.
So it's teamwork and problem solving.
No, I love it. And I love how you summed it up and you provided examples as well. So I think that's really great. Now, we're going to finish with some rapid fire questions because we're getting close to the end of our interview. Are you ready?
Yes.
Perfect. What is the last book that you read?
Well, so I have two books that I've been trying to finish. One of them is The Biggest Ideas in the Universe by Sean Carroll, and the other one is When Montezuma Met Cortez by Matthew, I forgot his last name, the author, but those are two books. One of them was about the conquest of Mexico by Hernán Cortés, which is the real story, right? So, and then the other one is Sean Carroll is a physicist. So he's talking about the universe and the creation of the universe, the mathematics of that. And I like to read because of the broad knowledge aspect of it, right? So, whatever I read in physics or whatever I read in history, there might be some applicable traits that I can borrow for what I do in marketing. So I like to read a lot of science.
I love that. Sweet.
And how about you? A lot of science too, or?
For me, it's mainly history books. So right now I've really been focusing on the history, of Mexico, learning, how the Aztecs, the Mayans, and all the other tribes were before the Spanish had come and arrived. Because I feel like a lot of books don't really talk about that. And I think it's really good too, where I've had a lot of colleagues and friends here who, have asked, how was life before the Spanish had gone to Mexico, since all of my family's from there. So it's allowed for me to be able to go back and, fresh up my memory and to relearn some things that I had forgotten along the way. So that's mainly what I'm focusing on right now. So huge history, a fanatic just like you are. Yeah. All right. Perfect. Now, if there were no boundaries in technology, what would be the one thing you want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
I don't know if things need fixing. I think that I see more complaints about it's evolving too quickly, right? People having to adapt. I think that the problem is there. I think that if you stay learning based, that cheesy learning based is the best solution, right? So reading, I've read, it's one of my favorite marketing books is This is Marketing by Seth Godin, right? So it's staying up to date with the industry, with the marketing industry. I think that's an issue that needs to be fixed, but it's only fixed on a personal level, right? So, because I think that it's evolving quite fastly with the introduction of Bitcoin, digital currencies, with the genetics that's going on. The world has completely changed. It's like we're in the 1920s where, relativity was discovered. All these science breakthroughs are happening. So we're in an age of endless technology growth. So it's staying in tune with that. And it's really hard to do. It's really hard to do because you turn around and there's something new on every side, and then being able to apply it, right? Being able to apply that knowledge. I think that's something. Maybe somebody comes up with a fix on how we can stay like a guy, some kind of guide of how marketers can stay up to date on the stuff, right? Maybe, and there have been read about the industry, but I think we're in a point where technology is overwhelming, and that's an issue.
Yeah, no, I agree. Technology right now is overwhelming for, I think, not only marketers, but for a lot of other industries. And it is difficult to keep up with it. So that I agree with you 100%.
Do you believe that AI will replace a lot of the marketing, like in every industry, a lot of the jobs?
To be honest, no, I don't. Because yes, even though we have the technology aspect, but it still needs that human component to be able to work to its full advantage. And like, for instance, let's say I'm a copywriter and, I'm using AI to help me generate more blog posts. Because I know how the AI works and because I know exactly what I'm talking about and I know my target market, I know my audience, and I know what my readers want to see, I can be able to help AI help me generate more content in a more quicker fashion and be able to help me pump it out a lot quicker instead of, having to set time aside to be writing the blogs, versus where AI can be able to help for more complex subjects that I want to discuss. Another example could be generative AI, where, now it has a component within Photoshop where a lot of creatives, I understand, are so nervous where it could replace, their jobs. But again, AI is meant there to help you, not to take away your jobs, because even if AI were to do the job, it's still going to lack the human component. And that's what everyone wants, right? They all want that human component at the end of the day. So I personally don't think that it's not going to take away jobs. I think it's going to be a tool for a lot of companies now. And I think it's more where a lot of people are struggling or figuring out how do I learn how to use AI, which is understandable. AI recently started becoming a hot trend not too long ago. So it's overwhelming for people who don't know how to use it, how it works. But I think it's great that there are a lot of, people and companies who are providing these tools to be able to help you become better in your job. So that's the way I'm seeing it. It's a tool that's made to help me work smarter, not harder, and not work against me. So.
Yeah, I heard Jobs in an old interview talk about the bicycle, right? A human can run X amount of miles. That's the top speed that a human can run. But when you add a bicycle or when you add a car, you've taken the human potential and exploded it by, 200%. And that's the age of tech. I mean, it's been going on since the 80s, but I think it's just the explosion is much heavier now. And a lot of possibility for people to not adapt with it because it's scary. And it's one of those things where you just got to jump in. You just got to jump in the pool. And I think people try to avoid it, and we'll see that there's going to be a large majority of people that don't take that step. But it makes your life easier. Tech actually, there is complications, right? Like Google campaigns can be overwhelmingly complicated, right? But in essence, what AI and these technologies do is just make your life easier. I just don't understand. I cannot imagine a world before the AI. It's just made my life easier. So I look at it from that perspective. That perspective is that now I'm able to do 100 times better, more stuff than I did before. And the quality is even higher. So for example, in the news, I started in news and I used to write, and it goes through layers. So I present an article, then it goes to an editor, and then it goes to the editor in chief, and then it'll go to the publisher. And then once all is done, your article has been modified and updated and corrected and made great to be able to be published. So you basically have all these people with AI. You have the ability to feed AI the information that you've written, and for it to improve it to a point where it will get clicks, right? It'll just take your data and make it better.
Yeah, exactly. You summed it up perfectly. So now we're at the end of our interview. I want to thank you so much for joining us on Pathmonk Presents. And I also want to give you the last word. If someone were to forget about everything we've talked about in our interview today, what is one thing you want them to remember about your company?
We are the future of hospitality. We are the new beginning. We are the beginning of the digitization of hospitality. We're trying to be the Apple of hospitality.
I love it. You said it. You summed it up perfectly. For all our listeners out there, check us out next week on Pathmonk Presents.